Manchester City have completed the signing of Gianluigi Donnarumma. We have our Italian monster in goal. The Edison replacement is already through the door, and it's a very exciting time for Manchester City fans. I'm getting behind this transfer. I really am. I've got a feeling this could be one that we look back in future and think that what a cracking deal was for £25 million. It's been officially announced, and there's the debate around Trafford and all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to focus on the positives and talk about Donnarumma today. What he could bring to Manchester City, and then at the end of the video we'll talk about where he fits in terms of the squad and all that kind of stuff. But I think this is one that maybe we don't need to overthink. I've been definitely guilty of overthinking this over the past week or two. And I think there's an element of truth in some of it, but I also think we need to just remember the very bottom line of all this. If you remove all the noise, the bottom line is we've just signed a genuinely world-class goalkeeper. More good players is a good thing. That is the crux of this issue here. And I think Donnarumma is one of the best to do it, full stop, in the world. An absolute phenomenal keeper. And it looks like we've got our man. Don't forget, guys, if you are new to this channel, please give the video a like, please subscribe. Lifelong Manchester City fan, creating an awful lot of content for you guys. Hopefully you're enjoying the videos. Give the video a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and come with me on this journey of Donnarumma discovery, is what I'm going to label it today. So I'll go over to the website where City have announced the deal. It says City signed PSG goalkeeper Gianluigi Donnarumma. Unfortunately, we haven't got the full media breakdown yet. It was obviously a case that he's in Italy for the medical. He's not flown over to get it all done, all the photos and all that kind of stuff. So it is a reasonably low-key announcement, unfortunately. But it is how it is. So he says City are pleased to confirm the signing of Gianluigi Donnarumma from Paris Saint-Germain, subject to international clearance. The 26-year-old goalkeeper has penned a 5-year deal, which will see him stay at the Etihad Stadium through to the summer of 2030. Over the course of a hugely impressive career to date, the Italian has gone on to establish a reputation for being one of the finest goalkeepers operating in the European game. A tall, commanding and imposing presence, standing at 6'5", Donnarumma arrives at the Etihad armed with a wealth of elite-level experience. He established his career with Italian giants AC Milan, where after progressing through their youth ranks and making his senior debut as a 16-year-old, 16 by the way, absurd, he went on to make more than 250 appearances in total, helping Milan to lift the 2016 Italian Supercoppa. He moved across Europe to France in the summer of 2021. To further his career development, opting to join PSG, where he made an immediate and sustained impact. In the course of 4 seasons at Parc des Princes, Donnarumma went on to help PSG claim a quartet of Ligue 1 crowns, 2 Coupe de France successes, as well as a hat-trick of Trophy de Champions titles. Butchered that. His stay in France's capital was then crowned in May of this year when he helped PSG claim a maiden UEFA Champions League title, with Enrique's side beating Inter 5-0 in a hugely impressive fashion. Beating Inter in a Champions League final? Been there, done that. You're welcome, mate. Donnarumma's influence impact has been equally impressive on the international stage. His heroics in a dramatic penalty shootout memorably helped Italy beat England, don't we all remember, at Wembley 3-2 on penalties to claim Euro 2020, with Donnarumma also voted player of the tournament. Donnarumma had this to say: "To sign for Manchester City is such a special and proud moment for me. I'm joining a squad packed with world-class talent and a team led by one of the greatest managers in the history of football in Pep Guardiola. This is a club every player in the world football would love to join. I've admired watching City for years, so now to be able to play for the club is a huge honour and privilege. I cannot wait to meet my new teammates, the staff and the fans. Playing at the Etihad Stadium will be very, very special for me. I'm very excited for what lies ahead and can promise that I'll give absolutely everything to try and help the club achieve even more success." Viana said, Gianluigi's pedigree, quality and record speaks for itself, and we're absolutely thrilled he's joined us here at City. He's accumulated a wealth of top-level experience and knows what is required to achieve success on a sustained level. From a remarkably young age, he's played at the very top level. That's unusual for a goalkeeper, and he means he arrived here as one of the best in the world in his position. There's no doubt Gianluigi will bring further quality and depth to our top-class goalkeeping department. Everyone here is very excited to wish Gianluigi to Manchester City, and we wish him all the best during his time here with us. Absolutely. He is undoubtedly one of the best in the world. He's a phenomenal goalkeeper. I actually saw a rumour. Watch this. I know this. I was chatting to Ace at 9320. Donnarumma was, and you don't have to believe this, but this comes from a very good source, Pep's first choice the summer Edison was signed, but we couldn't get it done. Guardiola actually wanted to sign Donnarumma back in 2017. That is true, but it didn't happen. It couldn't happen. So there we go. So Guardiola has always rated Donnarumma. Now, of course, he's only young still. 26 years old, but he's been playing for 10 seasons already, for a decade of football. And it's one of those things where we have to take this seriously in terms of his, his pedigree and what he can bring. I wish there was more, content around him. Unfortunately, there isn't. There is a little clip of him speaking to the City fans directly, which I'll show you right now. Still a bit rough, by the way, so you have to excuse me there. He says, Charles Rizzi, hi, he says, hi, City fans. See you soon. There we go.
Hi, City fans. See you soon.
See you soon indeed, Gianluigi. Gigio. And he's a hell of a shot stopper, isn't he, this man? Yeah, he really is. So I am trying to rationalize this in the most basic possible way. It's one of those things where some people just start trolling in the chat, which I don't really see the point of that, Just chill out on the whole trolling in the chat and rage baiting. I'm going to basically say that Donnarumma is a world-class goalkeeper. Ederson is left, and we're signing a world-class keeper. Ortega wanted to go, and we've signed Gerard Trafford as well. So our goalkeeping contingent has got better. Excuse me. It's one of those things where we have to probably accept that this is going to be a very different Manchester City side. I accept that. We're going to play differently. Maybe, just maybe, this is actually a good thing. Where we're at right now, where things are going, we're in a really interesting place right now with the team probably lacking identity, and it's probably the time where we're going to find that this City side need a big churn, and they're going to need an awful lot of experience coming in. Donnarumma does bring a big presence to this side. He's an elite winner of massive success and massive quality. He's played and shown on the biggest stages, be it Champions League, massive games in the quarters or the semis or the final, or in the Euro final for Italy, winning player of the tournament. He's showing that he can step up in big games. He absolutely has that aura. For want of a better phrase, aura is there for Donnarumma. And I think the one thing this City side lacking right now is probably a little bit of that. They aren't as confident. They don't have the conviction that they used to. And maybe Donnarumma's presence will actually massively improve this side, It's one of those things where this quality, this leadership, this experience is probably needed. I do feel sorry for James Trafford. But if there is issues as much as people say there will be in terms of how we play, then maybe Trafford will get his chance anyway. So ultimately, we've got two top-class keepers here, and that to me is better than having one top-class goalkeeper. I am much happier with Donnarumma and Trafford than I am with Trafford and Ortega. Like that's a factual statement for me. I would rather have two than one that I really trust. So I don't understand the panic there on that front. I understand the worry around, the style of play and all that kind of stuff. We'll talk about that in a bit more detail. But for now, I think we have to accept that Donnarumma is just one of the best. He's absolutely one of the best. And it's a phenomenal signing for the price that we got. £25 million. Ederson moving for around £10 million. For around £15 million net, we've got one of the best keepers in the world. And that is a really good deal. Now, so I was reading some articles about why we probably signed Donnarumma. I mean, it's obvious that Donnarumma is one of the best shot stoppers in European football. He's got cat-like reflexes. He's absolutely ridiculous. Standing at 6'6", big save after big save. Ask Arsenal, ask Aston Villa, how they feel about a man of that quality. And of course, there is the odd mistake here and there, but the pros absolutely do outweigh the cons with someone like Donnarumma. He's one of the most elite shot stoppers in world football. Maybe not necessarily the best. He can pass the ball a short bit, but PSG adapted to how he played. Vitinha, Joao Neves dropped deep to get the ball alongside him. And as you can see, I'll show you some stats here alongside when we go. In terms of save percentage completed, Ederson actually looks a little bit better there. But what I did see, a really interesting stat, that over the last 5 years, let me try and find it, there we go. Donnarumma has been the best shot stopper in Europe since his PSG debut in September 2021. The Italian save success rate is 74.94%. It's the best in Europe's top 5 leagues among those to have made at least 300 saves during that time. That's around 10% more than Ederson at 65%. So yeah, basically, Donnarumma is statistically, in terms of success rate, the best shot stopper in Europe. So we talk an awful lot about Ederson and Donnarumma and shot stopping. Donnarumma is, it's not. I mean, exactly, City forever. I mean, it's sort of true. Having two great goalkeepers is like having... Wait, the good old saying, Steve, having two great goalkeepers is like having no goalkeepers. No, it's not at all. I don't get that at all. One just sits on the bench, like, I don't understand that. And then the other comes in and the other struggles. It's definitely better to have two. There was a time, by the way, where Chelsea had Cech and Courtois. And, obviously they pushed each other. Eventually, Courtois moved on to become one of the best in the world, but he was challenging him, and it's definitely a good thing to have two quality goalkeepers. It absolutely is. So his shot stopping is undeniably brilliant. And I think this is a good point. It's a changing landscape of football. Managers are definitely better with shot stoppers these days in terms of using them. Maresca, Sanchez, Chelsea, Barcelona signing João Garcia. In the direct nature of football these days, with more pressing and more aggressive, it's one of those things where I understand this urge to have shot stoppers because football's so much more intense right now. We are sort of moving away from it. And it's one of those things where Guardiola is clearly willing to change his plans. And he is. And maybe this is a good thing. Maybe Manchester City will play different. Maybe we do need to shift up how we play. Maybe we do need to start acting a little bit different. Maybe we need to just reset a little bit. And Donnarumma is going to bring that, I do worry about the style that we're going to play. I think it's fair to say Donnarumma is not a great goalkeeper with the ball at his feet. He isn't. He can pass a few yards, sure. But he's one of those things where we're going to have to allow for those weaknesses. But I do think in big games, you've got a massive Premier League game or Champions League tie, I think Donnarumma will come up trump, and I think he'll be absolutely excellent. I think we'll see that. And I don't really see a way that Donnarumma fails, because if Donnarumma fails initially, it means Guardiola's side is failing. And then I think Guardiola is probably gone. And I think the next manager would keep Donnarumma because he's Donnarumma, and eventually Donnarumma would succeed, if that makes sense. Like, I don't really think there's a scenario where Donnarumma doesn't really succeed. Maybe I'm wrong there, but I think there is a very good chance that he just adapts. He adapts. He's not the best in terms of crossing in the area. I actually agree with that. We'll see how he adapts to the Premier League. If it's a disaster, we just play James Trafford. Now, the interesting thing for me is that Guardiola does apparently rate him. I saw some rumors that Guardiola feels like he can prove him with the ball at his feet and all that kind of stuff. And Guardiola, if Guardiola rates him that highly and Guardiola wants him, it's definitely a Guardiola thing, this, by the way. It's 100%. You can only presume that Guardiola has gone to, the extreme that he did with Haaland, where a man who's so talented in this position that he feels it's worth the shift of principles to an extent, because it's going to be that. And Donnarumma is that level, and I do feel there is something in that. The old 6'6" Trafford thing. Trafford is not 6'6". I'm so bored of seeing this myth online. He's massive, Trafford, but he's not 6'6". He's like 6'4", I reckon. He's still a really big goalkeeper. Either way, we got two giants in goal now, which is very, very, very useful. There's no interview, unfortunately, yet. I think it's all done being very last minute because of the the nature of it all. It is like last minute, unfortunately. And we'll get. By the way, I'm just reading the replies of the PSG fans, and they love the guy. The PSG fans love him. Yeah, they actually do, for what it's worth. So there we go. Yeah, the best save percentage of any goalkeeper to make 300 saves in Europe's top 5 leagues. I mean, that says it all, really, doesn't it? I'm reading some stats here right now. So, I don't think there are times when they get through. Good at one-on-ones, and we won't concede the first shot on goal most times these days. I mean, it's one of those things where we are weak at conceding chances. I expect Donnarumma to change on that. He will save most shots. What if this is the signing we needed, Nabis? I don't think this is the signing we needed, but do I think it's one that's going to help us? Absolutely. And you could argue that if we're going to move away from Ederson, there's no one as good as Ederson. No one. Even James Trafford, who's much better at the ball with his feet than Donnarumma, won't play the way that Ederson could. So we're going to have to make a a concession anyway to the way that we play to an extent. So why not just go out and get the best shot stopper? There's a lot of logic behind that. If you're going to change a little bit how you play because no one is Ederson, then maybe, just maybe, actually, you need to just switch up how you play. And I do think there's something in the fact that James Trafford is very young still. I really, really, truly believe in James Trafford. But we're signing a guy who's just come up from the Championship, and that's a very fair point to make. I know he's played in the Premier League before, but James is very young still, and there are still question marks around there. That's not to say James can't make it, but it is a hell of a risk to go for just James Trafford. We don't know how he'll handle life at Manchester City. Whereas Donnarumma, we know exactly what he looks like at the highest level. And I do think we need to consider that as a massive factor on this. And I have been a bit confused about this. And I've been a bit down on the idea of James Trafford not getting his chance. I absolutely can admit that. But I do think I'm overthinking this. I think we're all overthinking it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. James is still there. But I think someone just said in the chat, Plant said, you're a different man for yesterday. You've seen the positives. Yeah, well, I think I have to, because I think you get so bogged down in the weeds sometimes that you start to forget just how good this player is. And this guy is a cracking keeper. He really is. He's one of the best in the world. We've got room to grow and improve as well. So, look, I'm losing my voice a bit here, sorry, because I'm not 100% still. I'm still a bit poorly. A little bit better than yesterday, but it's still an absolute mess. But we've signed a player of immense stature that will transform the confidence in this defence, and that to me is crucial. And you could quickly see how this team, let's say the best case scenario, I'll bring up the squad right now, which I built yesterday. There's the squad with all the players on. Donnarumma, Trafford and Bettinelli as our options there. Aït-Nouri and Ake, Guardiola, Diaz, Kusanov, Stones, Rico, Nunes. The weakness is there, unfortunately. But Nico Gonzalez, Kovacic, Rodri, Nico O'Reilly, Bernardo Silva, Reinders, Shirky, Bob Savino, Haaland, Marmoush, Foden, Doku as our squad. Imagine there's a scenario where like Donnarumma finds form, Vardiel, Kusanov becomes a really good partnership, Aït-Nouri really settles in. Nunes sort of gets rid of some of those little bozo moments, mercifully. Maybe Stones ends up at right back a little bit, I don't know. But then we get a really aggressive midfield of Rodri, Reinders and Nico Gonzalez, something like that. Then you can let Foden, Bob or Shirky do their wonderful thing around Haaland or Marmoush. And you can start to see a side that's physically powerful, that has confidence, that has experience there in Haaland, Foden, Rodri, Donnarumma, Vardiel and people like that. And at that point, you start to think, well, actually, NOR is Nico O'Reilly. Sorry, I should have made that a bit clear. You can start to see a scenario where that this team has an awful lot of balance, an awful lot of confidence. And I do think there's something to be said for Aït-Nouri and Kusanov playing ahead of Donnarumma. That must help. The belief you must get. If Donnarumma tells you to fucking jump, you jump. If Donnarumma moves you out of the way, you move. Because he's that level good. And Donnarumma is a man of immense stature. So this is the thing. There's his career honours, Individual honours down there at the bottom as well. I'll show you that. Italian Golden Boy, Serie A Goalkeeper of the Year, Euro 2020 Player of the Tournament, the Yashin Trophy, League One Goalkeeper of the Year, Champions League Team of the Season. He's won an awful lot, hasn't he? Euro 2020. Yeah, I don't know. I think there is something in this. I think the defence need probably him right now. I think we might actually just need this experience that he'll bring. I do think as well we might even go for a right back in January, but for now, this is a good signing. This is obviously a good signing. Who else would not, we're the only fan base probably in the world that would moan about Donnarumma coming. I think that's probably true because we all rightfully have played into the Guardiola style of play. But Pep wants him. So at that point, do we just sit here and accept that actually maybe this is the right choice, Maybe Pep wants him, and maybe he's that good. Maybe we accept that we'll change how we play a little bit. And we all want to change how we play anyway. Everyone's moaning about the style not working, so maybe this will make us go more physically aggressive. I think the way this is going to have to work, by the way, is with Donnarumma in goal, we are going to have to be more physically aggressive. So I think we're going to see this. Vardiel, Kusanov. I think it still will be Nunes. Could see Stones there. Who knows? But I think it'll be Nunes. Because he can run. I think we're going to see a very physical midfield, and I think occasionally we'll see something like this where Reinders there, Nico Gonzalez, And I wouldn't be against this. You can laugh if you want to, but something like this, where you've got two technical, creative players out wide with overlapping fullbacks, these two tucking inside, and then you're seeing a physical team where Donnarumma is going to play long. So, because he's going to play long, you're going to have people who can mop up second balls in Rodri, Reinders, and Nico Gonzalez. And this could be a really interesting Manchester City side. We'll see how it goes. Guys, City have signed Donnarumma. Not my longest video, because I've got to pop out onto another call. But thanks for watching. Let me know how you're feeling. The negatives, I understand it. I'm worried about how we can play too. But we'll see. We will see how it goes. We've signed a cracking goalkeeper. Let's see how it goes. In a bit, thanks for watching. Subscribe. We've got Gianluigi Donnarumma. Donnarumma. Oh, Donnarumma. Bye-bye.